I want to start this episode with a story before I get into my first experience of the Steam Deck. And the story goes like this. Old man got hold of another old, well, I don't know how old he is, tech dweeb in Canadian land. And he said to me, hey man, I know you want a Steam Deck. Would you like to buy my one? Because I'm getting the OLED version. And I said, yes, please. That sounds like a good deal. He offered me a good price. And so we shipped it to South Africa. But the critical factor was it arrived at the South African Postal Service, not an independent courier. And the South African Postal Service, in all their wisdom, sent it back to Canada and made us feel kind of like criminals, like we had sent illegal goods. And so TechDweeb messaged me, said, hey, it's just arrived at my doorstep. What do I do? And we decided, let's send it DHL, to which I said, oh crap, because it's going to cost a fortune, which it did. But it got to South Africa. DHL said, hey, you need a permit. So I said, hey, I'll go get a permit. The South African department sent them the permit. Then DHL said, hey, this permit doesn't exist. So I went back to the South African government department and they gave a permit which existed. And I got my Steam Deck. So then it arrived and I said to TechDweeb, hey man, thanks so much for the Steam Deck. They now sell them in South Africa. So all of that to finally arrive and then realize they are now selling them in South Africa, which was just such a waste. Well, not a waste, because I got this. Firstly, I got to deal with TechDweeb, who is just a lovely, lovely human. And he drew me this, which in my podcast with him, he kind of played down how easy it is to draw. But to me, this is really special, very meaningful, and is going to be framed and go up in my studio. The little man he made when he did our 10,000 subscriber celebration with Shem. So that was really special. And I think this whole experience has been like a nice, meaningful experience, because all of this, and kind of like my whole life, I've wanted something like this. So this is really special. This is akin to me getting my Game Boy. Really it is. Like, this is the device to own, and we're going to get into why I still think that after, people go, oh, but what about the Windows devices that are coming out? What's happening? What do you think? Is the Steam Deck still relevant? All these things. And there are a few key points, even knowing now that within South Africa, the Steam Deck is actually more expensive than the ROG Ally. But there are some key points that I would still say, rather get the Steam Deck. And if you want to save, rather get the 256 gig Steam Deck. But get the Steam Deck. So let's get into it. But before we get into it, if you're a nerd like me, what am I saying? You're watching this video, you are a nerd like me, and you have a bunch of electronic projects sitting around your home. PCBWay recently showed me their projects section of their website. This is a library of projects that users have created. Some of them have got GitHub pages, some of them have got full guidelines on how to build these projects, even how to build your own horizontal Game Boy Color. Check out their website because they can do 3D printing, custom PCB boards, all integrated with their website. A big thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring my video. Keep you in suspense. Let's show you what I have on my Steam Deck. I'm going to skip some of the games that I'm not playing, like Asphalt 9. I don't like it. Balatro is on here for my wife. Beyond Two Souls, like such a cool game. I've discovered that I really like narrative games, because this is a whole journey for me. Like, I skipped gaming, and I think a lot of you who watch this got into retro gaming, and now you slowly but surely like, hey, remember that game? And find it and you're like, oh, I have to buy it on Steam, so let me play it on my computer. The next evolution for you, my friend, is this. And that's why I need to give you a reason at the end of this video what to say to your partner in order to convince them to spend between 10 and 15,000 Rand on a piece of kit. Anyway, so Beyond Two Souls, really cool sci-fi story. BioShock, Aish from Retro Handles recommended that game. Just a masterpiece. Death Stranding, I know it's a divisive game, but I'm really enjoying it. It's a really, like, Crystal is cozy, is like a cozy gamer. Like, this is like cozy gaming for me. It's got nice music, you sit with headphones and you play Death Stranding. Doom is just unadulterated violence, which I love. Didn't enjoy Fallout 3 just graphically. It was like a bit too old for me. So Fallout 4, I'm enjoying a little bit too much. I'm actually a bit addicted to this game. So I've got some rules on how I can spend my time playing that game. Forza Horizon 4. Very, very, very cool racing game. It's got a little bit of a storyline to it. They've added a few like elements to keep you engaged because just plain old racing is boring, so that's really nice. Got Half-Life on here. Haven't actually played it yet. It's one of the reasons I got into this whole Steam thing, but I haven't actually played it. NBA 2K. There's a lot of reasons why people don't like this game, but I think those reasons have been fixed. But my main gripe with this thing is it's 100 gigabytes just to play a couple of games of basketball here and there. I love the sort of photorealism of it. I really like it. It's just too big. So maybe when I get a 1 terabyte SSD on here, then I'll put it back on. I'm busy playing The Quarry. The Quarry is an exceptional narrative. I actually can't show this game because it's too gory. It's a beautiful... I'll put some of the screenshots on the screen now that I've taken of it. Beautiful cinematic narrative base. So it's not like hectic gameplay. It's not even approved for Steamdeck, but it actually plays okay. Skull, really nice platformer. Stray, like a cyberpunk style game, but you're a cat running through the city. Oh, wow. What Remains of Edith Finch. Just a beautiful, beautiful narrative walking sim. Very, very good. And then kind of the reason why I got into this, like I got into Steam because I wanted to get The Walking Dead. I found out there was a Walking Dead game and I'm a huge fan. And then I was like, it'd be so nice to sit in bed and play this Walking Dead or instead of watching a TV show. And it is a masterpiece. It is just a wonderful narrative-based game. So I've realized I like FPS, like I like first-person shooters, but these narrative-based games are where it's at for me. I really enjoy them. So I'm going to jump right into it. I'm going to jump into my pros and cons, why the Steam Deck is so good, and the cons, and I'm going to immediately jump into the cons with solutions to them because I don't think they're that big a deal. So the pros, the biggest pro of this thing is the optimization. So let's quickly go into a game. So Valve have been working furiously to have optimized profiles for each game that is on their library, specifically the games that work well on the Steam Deck. Because if they can do that, so they can optimize the games for their platform, they're streets ahead of everyone else. Here you'll see I'm using the Stray profile, and it is now optimized. So I said use per game profile, and it automatically selects if there's one available. It says here, we're going to adjust all the settings if it's available. If not, you can go in, set the use per game profile, and then set it yourself and bring the performance down. This, I think I can actually bring down to 6 watts. And this is the secret of the Steam Deck. The other devices, I was talking to Tech Dweeb about this, and he was pointing out how the ROG Ally is great at high performance levels. As soon as it's under sort of 15 watts, it doesn't perform as well as the Steam Deck. So the Steam Deck is getting you better battery performance and better performance at lower TDP, which is what you want in a handheld. It kind of defeats the point to have a handheld gaming platform that only runs at high power. And that is a Windows problem because my laptop does that. My laptop is fantastic as long as it's plugged into the wall, which kind of defeats the point of a laptop. So Valve were like, we know this is a problem. Let's go with Linux. So this is a Linux-based system, which has some cons, and we'll talk about that now. But the performance and the optimization of the system is unsurpassed. And that is the main reason why I will recommend this to everyone now who is looking for a high-performance, bigger gaming device. So there is a store here on the Steam Deck, but the way I actually do it is on my phone. So I will browse and I will watch trailers here, and then I will add the game to my wish list. And then I've got a wish list here. I can also add vouchers to my wallet if I get vouchers. And here are all the games. So for instance, this is a platformer that I've been interested in. It's at 74 Rand. I'll put the dollar value on the screen now. But a really nice OG platformer that I'm quite keen to buy. And then when I'm ready, I buy it. So at the moment, it's at a really good deal. So maybe this weekend I might buy it. Oh, there's a lot of sales at the moment. See, for instance, Tekken, which is a AAA game, was going for 1,000 Rand. It's now 730 Rand. So it's still a lot of money, but it's on sale. So that's how you do it. And then it will automatically add it to my library on my Steam Deck. And I can also, if my Steam Deck is powered on, I can tell it to download it on my Steam Deck from my phone. So the whole thing is just integrated and is very clever. And then those community profiles, so you've got the profiles for the settings, but then when I went in to play Beyond Two Souls, which the controls were very, very bad. Like, it's an older game, a narrative-based game, and they try to get fancy with the controls, and it actually doesn't work on this. I think it was originally for Xbox, and it used gyro and all that, and it was probably worked really well. But on the Steam Deck, it just doesn't translate very well. And so I was getting quite frustrated, and I was like, why can't I just use the trackpads for some of the movements? And then I found a community-made profile for my controls for this game. And so I got a workaround for something that wasn't originally working. So the community support on this is fantastic. And I just think it's the perfect compromise. You know, they've compromised on performance. They've got a low resolution screen on here in order to improve performance, in order to improve battery life, all that sort of thing. And I think it's just a perfect compromise. That is a lot of high praise, because I'm going to convince you to buy this thing, and then we'll lead into why you should buy this and how you can convince your partner you can buy this. So one of the cons is when you plug this into a big screen, it carries over the resolution that you're using on the device. Now, bear in mind, most TVs in most homes are about 720p. Rich people have 4K TVs, but most people have 720p TVs. I mean, we didn't spend a lot of money on TVs. We're not going to spend a fortune on a TV. So our TVs are 720p. So carrying over from here to the TV is absolutely fine. But every now and again, you might see that the resolution is not fantastic, but you can set it in the device to when you plug it in, it makes it better for the TV. So that is fixable. And as I mentioned, the controls aren't ideal for all games. So you are going to run into games like Beyond Two Souls. Fortunately, the narrative of the story was so good that I was captivated, but the controls were really horrible. So this device just couldn't. And then it's massive. It's massive and kind of boring. Like, without these things on, it's kind of boring looking. It's just black. It's like just a black blob. And it's huge. I mean, here's my controller. This is the size of an Xbox controller. It's huge. It's massive. But I mean, it's an Xbox controller with a screen in the middle. That's kind of what it is, And so it makes sense. Like, it needs to be big enough to read small text on games made for PCs, but small enough that you can carry it around. And at first, when I got it, I was like, there's no ways I would travel with this thing. But now I'm like, I'm never going to leave this thing alone. But those are the only cons that I can find with this thing. Like, we can talk about performance, and I will when I finally get a ROG Ally, or when the new one comes out, or whatever. But man, there's just not much to dislike on this device. And then if you go into desktop mode, I'm not going to show you how to do that now, but you can link up other games. So far, all I've done is get my retro games on here, but you can link it up via the desktop mode into non-Steam games. So any app that you want to run it as a non-Steam game, whether it's a browser or whatever, so that you can stay within the Steam OS. And what would an Adin Wars video be without a Darkwing Duck showcase? And I gotta say, man, the bigger the screen, the better. Like, if you've got a big screen, it's just wonderful. And playing this on the screen, even I think the etched glass, because it washes out the image a little bit, it just gives it a retro feel. So this is not bad. And I said to a bunch of guys on a chat group this week that I don't like the controls for retro gaming, but I've been converted. Like, I've been playing Darkwing Duck on here, and I kind of love it. And like I said, if you've bought games from external sources, you just go into desktop mode, link it up, and you can play it here. Put your browser here as well if you want, whatever. Okay, so let's make an argument, because you're going to have to now justify this. Like I said, I've got a channel where this all makes sense. It makes sense. Like, my wife, I didn't even question it, because she's like, well, this is what he does now. It makes sense for my channel to buy these things. Quickly, before I do that, I'll quickly show you all the accessories. So I got this lovely case from TomTok. I'll put their link in the description below. This case is quite lovely. So as you can see, figure hugging. So it's lighter than the Steam case. It's got this beautiful, soft thing for the screen, and then you can put some goodies in here if you want, like a cable or whatever. But yeah, figure hugging. It came with a few little pads, but now with my grips, I don't need the pads because it like wobbles around a little bit. So it's got a little bit of space for the grip, and this kind of just keeps it snug inside. And so I haven't traveled a lot with it yet, but I did put it in my bag the other day and then realized afterwards there was sea sand in my bag. So this protected it from the sea sand, obviously, any case would, but it's quite durable. What I use it for is to chuck it around the house. So when I go lie in bed and I want to have it there in case I end up playing a bit of gaming, doing a bit of gaming. I've got 4 dogs, 2 kids. This just keeps it safe around the house. And it's figure hugging. So it's just, just grab it like this, grab it like this. It is really nice. And TomTok, I would say their cases feel kind of better than the cases that you get for things. So like the Steam case is nice. The TomTok is just as good, if not better. So if you are looking for a third party, please go check out the link. They were kind enough to send this to me when TechDweeb first sent this to me. And so they've been waiting for me to feature this in a video. So please go click on their link a lot so that they can see that I'm sending them some love. But TomTok, thank you for sending this. I'm using it, and it is a lovely, lovely case. Then just check out my video, but I did this mod, RGB lighting, see-through backplates. This is the first thing I did because I wanted to get it on so I could carry on playing my games. And so this is the first thing I did, and I got a video out on this. It really is nice, and it's not as expensive as you would think. And so JZork sent me this. I'll put a link in the description below. With the RGB lighting, I just put it on for shits and giggles. I really like it. And then JZork's also sent me this. So it comes with a really nice USB-C cable for this dock. As you can see, I've left it. I like the rainbow mode. Someone was like, why would you want that bullshit RGB rainbow mode? I'm like, I like the rainbow mode. You press and hold to switch it off. Not a touch and hold to switch it on. It's got a little tray, a little bit of a janky tray, but it's got rubber here and good rubber on the bottom. So it grips and it doesn't fall over. So a bit of a janky tray, but it works. And then it's got a bunch of inputs. I can put Ethernet in here. I've connected my mouse. I've connected my Ultimate controller in here, which I'm going to show you now. And what else? It's got a USB for accessories here. It's got USB for a fast charger on this side, another USB-C here, and then an HDMI port for your TV. So if you want to have this explanation, so this is what I would say you would tell your partner. Find out the price of a dock, included in the price that you need for your Steam Deck, and this thing can do handheld gaming, console gaming, so scrap the Xbox or whatever, that already saves you money if you're already an Xbox gamer. Scrap the Xbox. I know people say that's ridiculous, but I'm all about streamlining and finding the most simple solution for yourself and to save a bit of money, And I'm trying to help you. So just listen. Scrap the Xbox, save some money there, because you can now consoleize it. Also include a controller if you don't have one yet. You can also use this as a computer. So check this out. I've got a cheap Bluetooth keyboard here that I bought years ago. I've got a cheap wireless Microsoft mouse that I've plugged in the back here. It's something that you'll have to get used to, but it runs Linux. You can put Windows on here. Guys, I've put Windows on here. But Linux, I've used Linux before, and I really, really liked it. The reason I stopped using it is because I use professional software like DaVinci Resolve. Then we've got Discover, which is our app store. VLC, video player, Spotify, Firefox, Telegram, photo editor, 3D rendering editor, video editor. So you could just run Linux on here. You could switch to Windows, so that's also an option. So if you want to use this as a Windows device, get yourself one of these things and you're off to the races. It's a console, it's everything. And so that is the argument. The argument is you can use this as a desktop, as a console, and as a handheld gaming device for everything. And that brings me to my conclusion, where I know I've been saying this from afar, and I feel like maybe I'm slightly sort of unqualified to say this because I'm getting into this. But the more I look at it, the more I've grown into the retro gaming scene, seeing what handhelds can do, seeing where it's headed, seeing where consoles have kind of peaked And gaming's almost taking a step back. Guys are getting a bit frustrated with the AAA releases, how expensive they are, how there's paywalls behind everything. And now indie gamers are getting like a new lease on life to make games. The performance needed to play these games isn't as high level as, what is the PS6, the PS7 going to be? I don't know. I don't even know if there is room for that in the future. I feel like this is the future. And I know all the hardened gamers will have something to say about that, but as someone coming into this with fresh eyes, this is the future because it can do, as a dad gamer, as a guy who has to justify this massive purchase to his wife, having something that can be a computer that can replace my expensive laptop, that can be a console, which I've never had in my life before, but can replace your Xbox. Obviously, with some concessions, there are games that you can only have on Xbox, but just hear me out. And the fact that you can have it on the couch, on the go. That is revolutionary and changes the game. I may have just discovered the Steam Deck, but the realization that this might be the absolute ultimate and the only next thing to do is buy the upgrade of the Steam Deck kind of kills my motivation for making more videos, because what more is there? This is the future. Rich people have 4K TVs. It's massive. It's massive and it's huge. It's huge. It's massive.